Oh, we're streaming. We're streaming.
Woo! This is the highest I've ever did.
Sitting on a log. Three little frogs sitting on a log, one of them fell in. One frog said to the other frog, man, you better go get 'em. Two little frogs sitting on a log, one of them fell in. Last frog sat and thought, good thing they can swim. Come on, Jawn. 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 Welcome to the show. Come on, Jawn. And away we go. Welcome to the show. Come on, Jawn. Show, come on.
Hooray! Hey, you like it, Percy?
It was cooler in rehearsal, but you haven't used it way.
Oh, I thought that was I thought that was wonderful.
Oh, good.
Percy, you just get to play this. You shaking that tape?
Oh, look at there's a new name. Fraternal Yeshiv.
What's that?
Whew.
I don't know.
A name for what?
A new person on Twitch.
Oh.
Welcome, Fraternal Yeshiv. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Nathan Moore. This is Steve Moore, Kyle Hogg. You are watching Jawn. We do have the chats here in my hand. Wherever you're watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, good to see you. Welcome to the show. We're just going to sit here and Jawn.
Number 15.
Number 15.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, we're doing
Yeah.
great.
I just got some good news too.
What'd you get? What happened?
Am I allowed to pronounce? Am I allowed to announce good news? On the
Yeah,
radio?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Your dear friend Jane Firkin, you remember her?
I do remember Jane.
They're having their very first gig at Baja on April 7th.
She has a new band.
Opening it up for Savvy.
She's great. Is it a new band or?
I think so, yeah. Well, they've been having trouble keeping a drummer. But I think they got a drummer now.
They got a new drummer, huh? Is it still called Yes and?
I think they got rid of that. They had some kind
Copyright issue.
of. I think some people didn't like it.
Some people didn't like it. I don't think they got
Now,
it.
who is in this band?
I mean,
Jimmy Kivigan and Steve. I can't remember Steve's last name.
Sutton?
Yeah, and I don't know who the
oh,
drummer is.
hit the mute on channel 1 right there, right under the synth.
I don't know if she timed that right when it went on air or not, but it's good
And
timing.
where is she playing?
Baja, April 7th.
Hot
That's a
dog.
Friday.
Well, I'll try to make it down there, but
So everybody come down.
I'll always
That's exciting.
try.
Do you know what Yes and is from?
No.
That's like the rule number 1 in improv. When you do improv, like take an improv class, sometimes they have in classes, all theater actor people engage in improv. And the first thing you have to remember in improv, it's yes and. So whatever you do, my reaction to it has to be yes and.
Keeping it going.
The moment you hesitate or doubt or be like, no, let's not do that, it all starts to fall apart. You have to sort of roll with whatever somebody is going for. And so whoever didn't like that name didn't understand it.
It might
I mean,
still be, I don't know.
Like, well, we're called Yes and people are out there like, no, but. No, I mean, it's just there's.
But if
they
you've
didn't get
never
it.
heard all that about yes and, that would not be valid. I mean, I've never heard of that yes and thing, and
Right.
and I don't do improv.
Well,
And-
you do
and
every
you act
Thursday at
li-
7.
Well, you act like I'm something wrong with me. That I don't do improv and I don't know yes and.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad we're getting
But
this
no,
out on the
no,
table.
no,
because
no,
I've
no.
thought this for a long time.
No,
it's like,
but-
Dad doesn't do improv. I don't know what's wrong with him. think
No,
it's a
but I
little
want
weird.
to say this, which I just said, no, but. That's what I wanted to say. So I'm through now. I decided I wasn't going to talk tonight.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
When'd you decide that?
On the way over.
On the way over.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
I decided I'm going to just listen to y'all.
You just set it in your mind.
Because
You know what?
everybody,
No, you
yeah,
need
I'm going to
to.
take a night off. I haven't been feeling that good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a damn thing to say.
Right.
Well, constructive.
welcome to the party.
I don't have anything. I'm a no butter.
We no butter. Are they still looking for a band name? No butter.
No
Good.
butter. And that's a great name.
That's not bad.
Because I just went right to the idea that the truth is, I
Is the
don't
name of your
have.
band
I
Yes
need
and No
one of the
Butter?
things at the top of my grocery list for tomorrow is butter.
Oh, really? You know what?
I'm out of butter.
We have some extra butter. If you want to.
Well, I think I can make it till lunchtime tomorrow. But
I'm just saying, we
I
do
might,
have
if
some
you
extra
go
butter.
upstairs, I might take one stick just to get through the night. You don't know what's going to happen.
We have an obscene amount of butter.
Yeah, I ran out. I tried to do something with that butter, and
You need any butter?
I don't think so.
You're good on butter?
Now, when you're frying fish, do you use oil or butter?
Good question.
well, you know what I've started doing when I'm frying things like that is I coat the pan with olive oil and then go from there. But a lot of times I'll put butter in there with it, especially like a grilled cheese sandwich. Whew. Yeah, butter underneath. I mean, olive oil underneath, and then butter that sticks to the bread is.
You know a great grilled cheese innovation the kids have come up with. They didn't do this when I was growing up, but nowadays you see a lot of cheese on the outside of the bread.
What?
Really?
You know that the cheese on the pizza that sort of falls off and gets and gets real crispy or whatever. You can put cheese on the outside of the bread, and it's just delicious. It just gives it a little crunch, and you would it intuitively you think, well, that's just not going to work. But mark my words, try some of that shredded cheese on the outside of the bread. Flip it a couple of times. It'll just give this nice cheesy crisp crust to the whole thing.
Have you had a Yelping Dog grilled cheese?
So good. They might have some cheese on the outside of the bread.
Every time I go there, it's like I have to tell myself, don't go back the next day. I'm just addicted to it.
It's something else. It really is something else. Here's a hot tip.
Have you had one of their grilled cheese?
I have, but when you said that, I was wondering if they have different kinds.
Yeah.
So I've had a grilled cheese there, but I haven't really explored their possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Quick little culinary tip for like fish or something like that. You want a little oil in there with the butter. You can use butter, but it has a low smoke point. So if you add some oil to it, it raises the temperature of when the butter will burn.
Oh wow.
Sort of like how ice will change the melting point of ice or snow or whatever. Or salt will change the melting point of snow. Little oil in there with the butter will keep the butter from burning. Wow. So you can really fry something up and add that buttery flavor to it. Yeah. When you use olive oil when you do fish, right?
Yep.
No butter?
For what?
Fish. Trout.
Fish, I have not used. I've started using butter more for lots of things, but I haven't had fish with butter. But I could see that would work just fine.
Butter's so delicious.
But if you're out by the river and you catch a fish, you don't have olive oil with you, do you?
No, I don't eat the fish till I get home.
Oh, okay.
Normally, unless I was out camping, then I would have stuff to.
Right.
I'd be prepared, but I don't have to eat a fish as soon as I catch it.
Dad, calm down. I just can't taste it. Let me be. It's still kicking. I don't care.
You know what I've spent?
Put some butter on it. No, it's good just the way it is.
Yes, and. All right, give me some. I'll try it.
Bait another line. I'm still hungry.
You know what I've spent hours thinking about is how many things that we get from cows. Speaking of butter, but you got your ice cream. You got, I mean, of course you got all your steaks and hamburgers and all that kind of stuff. But then when you start getting to the milk, you got your butter, you got ice cream, milk, whipping cream, all that kind of stuff. Then you get to the leather.
Well, you got to mention cheese.
Cheese, right? I mean, that's the big one. Yeah,
That's a big one.
Everything. Yeah.
You know, their hooves are powerful aphrodisiac.
Yes, and
They just looking at me like, you have some? I got a little packet of cow hoof right here.
it's funny
Yeah,
because
I wouldn't think about that either.
you know, in India they don't kill cows because they're holy, and I'm torn on that because
You like steak?
I mean, the reason I think they're holy, I agree they're holy, but how do you know that if you're not eating the butter and the cheese and the hamburger and the steak and the
Well, no, wait a minute.
wearing leather shoes?
You can eat the cheese and the milk.
Oh, that's true. I bet
without
they don't
killing
in
'em.
India.
Oh, yeah, they do.
What's
You
the reason
think?
for having them then?
Yeah,
They're holy, right? That's you're picking up what I'm putting down here.
So it's sort of like the reason we have dogs. They're holy to us. We don't eat them or use them for anything.
Well, there's a definite reason we have dogs. 'Cause we're love-starved.
Is that, well,
Well, that's just the truth.
He was staring right in my eyes when he said it. Because you're love starved.
I did not look at you. That was-
You had 4 dogs because your
you're
wife
just-
left you
you're
and you were
just
love
sen-
starved.
You're just sensitive.
but they would,
Probably because you're love-starved.
but you know, dogs definitely did a lot of work. I mean, they don't anymore except for guarding property or whatever,
Are
but
we talking about dogs or cows?
dogs.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I was thinking like back in the day when they were the shepherds,
Yeah.
extended
well,
arms to keep
sled
the
dogs.
herd, sled dogs,
and then
so many
protection dogs.
protection. Yep.
Yeah, they have lots of functions, but mainly they're for love-starved people.
Mm-hmm.
But well, they want to be able to trust
And
something
what are
in the
cats
world.
for?
Yeah, cats,
Yeah,
just the
for
opposite.
people that need a little abuse in
Yeah.
their lives.
People that
People that need to be snubbed a little bit, need to be some humility.
yeah, it's,
I'm love starved and I want something to make me feel bad about myself.
well,
I'll get a
that's-
couple of
it's
cats.
it's a balancing act.
Right.
The dogs make you feel great, and the cats bring you
Put
back
you back
to-
in your
to
place.
put you back in reality.
I think she might have the name of the band. Hold on.
I love how all the animals that have, I just love the whole idea of certain animals breaking from nature to join humans in our world. It's always sort of fascinating. And they always, at least they've evolved to look the part. Like the horse is one of the first great examples. Without the horse, we wouldn't be here today. The horse and humanity teamed up to create civilization, to traverse the world. I mean, it's a profound relationship humanity has with the horse. And you look at a horse, and it looks the part. Like, you wouldn't see a horse in the wild. You'd know right away. Like, if none of this history had happened and you saw a horse, you'd be like, all right, something's going to happen. I feel like you would immediately. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you're wrong. I've got one word for you.
What?
Zebra.
I know. This is what I just thought of myself. I just thought of the zebra.
Except he's not like a horse because he has white and black stripes.
It's very
How
different.
absurd is
which
that?
makes him a little bit like a tiger or something.
Oh
Makes
my
him seem.
God.
But we ride zebras.
Not very often.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A friend of mine wrote a poem about how, like when the train first came around, and people that rode horses got on the train, and they were just like almost petrified. They were like going like so fast and so, they'd go over like a canyon or something on a bridge.
No longer in control.
Yeah, they were just sitting there like out of control. And he was talking about how now people driving cars don't even know the feeling of being on a train. And he said, can you imagine going back and if we had to do everything on horses, the feeling, like you said, you were just in control of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was slowed down. You had to stop and, like tell the horse where to go and feed it and all that stuff. It's a pretty good poem he wrote about, how we've come just not that long of time, 200 years or something, 100 years. From
I love how we still use the terminology that original cars were by horsepower.
Yeah.
This thing's the equivalent of 4 horses.
Yeah.
4 horsepower automobile.
But you have to realize that most cultures have not involved the horse in their culture at all.
Really?
Yeah, think about all the islands and up north, and I mean, how many horses are? There's a certain swathe of the world where the horse is functional, but if it's too snowy or too icy, or
Well, that's true.
horses, and then in island nations and places where it's too hot, you don't have horses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of the horse thing came from the discovery of the New World and how they got brought over here and then escaped and became wild. And then
They were all riding horses before that, weren't they?
oh yeah, they were riding them, but I'm just saying the a lot of the culture that we know came from the Indians and using the horses to hunt buffalo and things like. They were using and to conquer the West before the trains.
I never thought about that. But you don't like really see old pictures or old things of like Japan or China or anything. You don't see horses.
No, there's very.
They had them though.
How did they get around? How did they get around?
You can imagine like
Magic Dragon.
they had. I think they had horses.
You think they did?
They had donkeys and mules and things. I mean, you go to a place like Greece, where a horse might be uncomfortable because it's rocky and rough,
Right.
but a donkey or a mule or something would be their beast of burden.
All,
Wow.
and then you got the camel, which is sort of
Yeah,
similar.
If it's hot enough, you got to wear a camel.
Camel's really an anomaly, but same function.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny how all the, and I know this isn't really that, it's not even close to a profound point because it's all just what I'm used to. But to me, like when you look at barnyard animals, they look the part. It's like you're not going to see like a cow and a chicken and a pig just out in the wild. It's like they were evolved to be in our farms. I know it's not true.
It's not.
It's just
really
that they
true.
look the part. Like if you saw a chicken or a pig
Yeah,
out in nature, you'd be like, oh, that doesn't belong out here in nature. That should be on a farm somewhere. But I know we got wild boars.
Right.
It's all because we spent thousands of years having them in captivity, and they look radically different than anything else in nature because of. But I still think out of the gate we knew. Well, that's going to be a pig. That's going to be a chicken. That's going to be a cow. It just all makes some kind of fundamental sense. But that's to bring it full circle, that's why I think it's so interesting that cows are so revered in India as a holy thing. But it's not because of what it provides, apparently.
What is it because of?
I have no idea. I have no idea, but they don't
But
eat
part
them.
of what you're talking about is selective breeding.
Mm-hmm.
We bred them what we do is breed things to weaken them if they're around us. Like we don't want something with sharp claws and
Right.
long teeth if we're going to make pets or if we're going to eat them.
Right. We round them out.
So we pick, and we don't want them to be smarter than us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or faster.
So as soon as they're born, we give them an intelligence test. And if they pass it, we eat them.
Right.
And that's the way we've gotten along as human beings. So well.
Yeah. The whole idea that a poodle is descended from wolves is.
Yeah, in the back of some sick man's world back there, he took a wolf and. Yeah, I've been reading about the whole dog thing. It's been kind of interesting because it's a mutual thing. The dogs chose us.
Right.
Just as much as we chose them.
Now we're getting.
Didn't dogs sort of like domesticate themselves?
Well, that's what I was. That they figured out where the food was, and they figured out what they could do, and then we selectively bred them too, to look the way we wanted them to look.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't taken that long to make a dog look like anything we wanted to look like. There's a little Pomeranian
It's
and
a
that
little
weird thing y'all got running around.
That completely debunks my whole theory that there's some natural order to the. On the other hand, I still think if you take all the mammals native to like North America, how many of them could you possibly ride and train? Could a deer be trained to behave like a horse if we had just made
Reindeer.
that commitment? Right.
I
Like,
don't
what if we
know.
chosen deer
I
instead of
think- I
horse?
think
There'd be
it-
horses jumping across the street and overpopulating, and everybody be riding deer everywhere. If we just made
That
that.
damn horse is eating my tomatoes again. I can't.
See, I don't
believe
think
it.
that was a possibility. I think there's something fundamentally symbiotic about humanity and horses that's sort of magic.
I think there is. I think that's true. And that's why we chose the horse, and that's why it's worked.
Right.
You can try it with anything, but it won't work.
Have you been to the Stanton Cultural Museum lately?
No.
They have pigs there that are so massive. It just it looks like a truck or something.
Like
They're-
how big?
Like huge, like
Way bigger than what you're doing with your arms?
Oh yeah, looks like 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
And they have the people out there dressed up as the old timey people and stuff. I said, I didn't know pigs were so huge. These look like dinosaurs or something. And she said that's just a normal pig. It's not that big, but like you were saying, humans, not Americans, humans have just learned how to breed them for the food. They blow up the huge size so one pig can make 700 pounds of bacon. And she said these aren't natural pigs. A natural pig is just a little thing running around. These are like these behemoth. Oh my God, like you're scared to death.
A peccary.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that word?
No, what is that?
A peccary or a javelina
Javelina?
are both terms for the type of wild pig.
What?
Yeah, check it out. The peccary and the javelina. I've never called it a javelina before. I've always called it javelina. That way people know I'm a southern redneck.
And wait, so these are wild pigs?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Very common.
Very common.
In the West.
Yeah. I mean, because the pigs out there at the Cultural Museum, you cannot. I don't think they could walk. If we told them to leave here and get in the car, they would have a hard time getting there. They'd be like, they're so big. Help me, please drag me down there.
Do you feel like you could ride one? Was it that big?
Oh yeah,
You could ride one?
Oh yeah.
It would.
I mean, it's yeah. I'm trying to. It's like the size of a sofa.
That's
or
quite a
something.
visual image, by the way.
Look at that hog riding a pig. I can't believe it.
I didn't go there, but somebody had to.
So the wolf thing, I can sort of imagine. They just we're throwing food out by the edge of the camp or whatever, and they're just getting closer and closer, and they end up just sort of hanging out around the tribe. But how did cats happen?
Well, you have to go back to the Egyptians. And as soon as you do that, it gets weird.
Here we go.
So as we're talking, Egyptians were weird all the way around. And I'm sorry if you're Egyptian. I'm not apologizing. You're weird. Now I am weird too.
We're all weird.
We're all weird in different ways.
Right.
So I'm not really saying anything about your culture.
I think the cat though. Somebody was the family was just working in a field one day, and you came home. You're like, man, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. And there was an animal laying there that wouldn't get up, wouldn't move. And you're like, what kind of animal is this? It's like, I'm a cat.
Well, no,
They just came in and took over.
Sleep on the
I just
floor.
had
I'm
to
not getting
light.
up.
You know why we have cats?
Why?
Barns, rodents.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you think about the mice getting into your hay, your feeding and all the things you worked hard to save, and you got them up there, and the mice are eating them all. You can keep some cats down there, and they eat the mice.
I know. I understand that, but
But the cat like a lion.
That
or
just
something.
explains how
yeah,
they.
but what's exactly because the dogs apparently the common ancestor is the wolf, right?
Right.
But what is the same for cats?
Well, I don't know the original one, but I think in Egypt there was a smaller version. We have our bobcats, and the cats get bigger, but there are also small versions of wild cats. And I believe if you went back and studied the history, we'd go back to Egypt or that part of the world where they were. That would, I'd be interested in knowing that myself, but where that came from. But it was one culture developed it, and then another culture sees it, and they want a cat too.
Right.
And all the little kids want cats, so we have to figure out why they keep scratching us.
Well, talking about animals, Jane's new band is called the Wax Bats.
Oh, nice.
The what?
Wax Bats.
Well, now, is there an explanation
Never
for
heard
that
of this one.
Okay. I'll get that from the horse's mouth. You know what I wanted to talk about tonight? I want y'all to explain the Scott Adams case to me.
Oh, God.
I
For those that don't know, Scott Adams was the creator of the comic strip Dilbert. And recently in one of his podcasts on YouTube, he does like either daily or weekly, he does a talking show on YouTube where he just sort of drinks coffee and rants about stuff. And he was talking about a poll that Rasmussen put out where they, I guess, asked black people the question, is it okay to be white? And like a certain percentage, higher than you would think, said no. So he went on this rant about like, well, if you're asking me, I'd say it's time to stay away from black people. And I'm going to stop helping black people, and they're a hate group now, and I'm done with it, yada, yada, yada. I mean, the so much he is just missing or willfully blind to or just obtuse about, or maybe doesn't know the history. There's a lot going on in all that. First of all, I would say, screw you, Rasmussen. What are you doing? Why are you making these tricky, problematic poll? Like that's a name that people sort of trust in statistical data. Rasmussen is sort of a trusted name in polls, like for political things and stuff like that. But the whole phrase, is it okay to be white, was started by trolls on the internet as a meme to upset people. It's sort of like white lives matter. It's like that. Do white lives matter? Are you saying white, like that whole troll? You're trying to trick people. So like on college campuses all over, there's been these like posters and memes like, is it okay to be white kind of thing, like sort of. It all started on forums online and just as basically a meme or a troll to try to elicit
was
reactions.
Scott
from
Adams
people.
aware of all that?
I don't think he was, but I don't think there's any reason not to be aware, not to feel like something's off here. Like, just, I guess I don't.
Well, I feel like something's off. I just want to say that when I've read the paper, my Stanton paper for years, and my position has always been that there's only one really funny cartoon. The others have historical value and are silly enough that you wonder why that's on there. But he
Family
actually,
Circus. No.
well, they everybody's funny every once in a while, even Beetle Bailey.
Right.
But,
Beetle Bailey.
Yeah. But Scott Adams is genuinely funny.
Mm-hmm. You like Dilbert.
I like Dilbert. I think it really, and it attacks that corporate thing that I hate, where people were.
He should have stuck to his wheelhouse.
Well, I don't understand. I don't know the background to have an intelligent argument about it, which was never my forte anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like low, below the belt type of argument more than intelligent. It's a lot of trouble to the intelligence when you're arguing with stuff. But yeah, I just feel like that it's that cancel thing again, where I can't see his cartoons anymore in my paper because he got crazy one Monday morning and said some silly things.
Right.
And I need to understand more
it's-
about,
it's-
is he standing by everything and is he okay with it? Of being canceled
the
by
next
everybody? He
podcast-
might have been doing it on purpose.
I feel like he
We're
was
all-
doing it on purpose.
might have
on
just-
some level, like maybe he didn't think it would be this bad. Like he was definitely
It's stirring the pot.
he was definitely stirring the pot. He was definitely looking for attention. He was definitely trying to trigger certain people, but he just went too far with it. I mean, when you're listening to the original thing, you're just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you committing career suicide right here? And then his next podcast, he tried to be so bold as to be like, I wrote this script and now it's playing out, like that he had orchestrated it. Which then, in seeing him on Twitter and stuff like that, I feel like he's just really sort of like drowning and grabbing onto anything that might be a buoy or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know him. I don't know what he looks like. I've never
He
heard
looks
his
just
podcast.
like Dilbert. You'd pick him out of a lineup. Which of these guys writes Dilbert? you'd pick him
Yeah,
out.
but it just seems like to ruin a person's entire career that I approve of because I thought he was funny over one incident. It just seems like the crime and the punishment don't match up.
Well, you should watch the original before you say that, though.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question. I know I'm full of holes.
Because it's not like he was. It seemed really intentional that he was trying to create a reaction, and then he was just sort of shocked by the reaction. But it's not like he was just saying something that was taken out of context,
right?
and used to destroy his career.
Well,
I mean,
what was he trying to say?
He was trying to say that if 40% of black people don't think it's okay to be white, then they are officially a hate group and should be avoided. Which just seems like you're like, did you just get here? Like, he knows what's going on. You know, he's a anti-woke right-winger at the moment that like got into the whole Trump circus and feels like, you know, that there's this whole attacking of I don't understand it, because like you say, he's obviously a creative, productive, intelligent person that has created something that people value, and he has achieved so much. Like, I don't even know how to approach. When I was listening to that podcast, I knew he was committing career suicide. I don't know why he wanted to do that, or I don't know why he didn't know he was doing that. Like, it's weird how our blind spots work.
Right.
It's just strange.
It's such a, like, probably 30 years ago, like, talking about the question about whites. I was walking into a show one time in Richmond, like 30 years ago, and this car pulled up. It was 4 black guys in the car, and one of the guys said, "Come on over." And I was like, "No, I didn't." I just walked over there, and the guy said, "Are you proud to be white?" And I was just like, "Shit, what is this getting into?" And it was 2 guys in the front, 2 guys in the back, and the guy in the back I saw had a pistol, and he was leaning forward, and he said, the guy in the front said, "Are you proud to be white?" And I was just like, I just said, "Well, I'm proud of myself." And he just held his hand up to the back of the car with the guy. I don't think they were going to shoot me, but he just held his hand up to the guy with the pistol behind him, and he said, "Keep on walking." And I was like, oh my God, was that the right answer? I'm proud of myself. I mean, I didn't know what to say. I was just like, you know, it's not like I take any pride in being white, but, you know, I don't take any shame
Well, it's a good
in it
answer.
either, you know. But I was just like, oh my God. And as soon as they drove away, I just took off running. Like, I hope they don't change their mind. That's not a good answer. But
Wow,
it was,
that's interesting.
and I'm sure they were just riding around, you know, messing with
Fucking
people.
with
you know.
people.
Yeah. When I
Oops,
saw that,
I'm sorry.
pistol,
you're
though,
fine.
I was like,
I decided not to say that anymore.
Oh, bleep the profanity for the rest of the show. We're going back on that. Just to put,
I will talk about fuck, but I'm not going to say
don't
it.
say it, right? The just to put it back, I said it once, but just to like reiterate, like, because you got to put it all in the context of the times that we live in and the state of everyone's mindset and the narratives that are going on. If you set a poll out right now and asked 100 people, do white lives matter? Like, someone saying no to that is different now because of the context of the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. It's a trick question. Like, I could see reflexively. Are you asking me this earnestly, or because I would want to say no, not because I don't think white lives matter, but because I know that that's a slogan
Right.
that people are using to dismiss the Black Lives Matter movement. Like it's all a troll. It's all trying to trigger a reaction, and I would say no to that just because I think it's a bullshit question. I don't think it's being asked in earnest. I think it's being asked to get clicks.
Well, you know what
I think it's a BS question, and I think most people that said no to, is it okay to be white, were saying no to the question in the first place, no to the whole exercise.
Now, what you just eloquently described was exactly what I was thinking maybe Scott Adams was doing. That he was doing it, that same thing, of just attacking it that way, of saying it's bullshit.
Right,
The whole thing's bullshit,
right.
including you taking my cartoon. I mean, in other words, Gannett, the people that run my newspaper, they didn't ask me if I wanted to see that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody up there in an office made a command decision that everybody else took him off, we're taking him off too.
Okay.
But they didn't ask the people.
Right.
I would have said, even if he's got that fault, I mean, because I didn't see him being racist in saying that. I didn't interpret it that way, but I guess you could.
Oh, so his comic is gone?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Pretty much every newspaper, like within a couple of days, stopped carrying Dilbert.
It's such, like you said, like the Black Lives Matter, the White Lives. It's like if somebody says it's my birthday and somebody back says my birthday's next week. Like, all right, it's not that we don't care about you, but just let the birthday person have their time. And just, just like it's Black Lives Matter. Mine does too. All right, we know. Just shut the fuck up. Let somebody else have their.
I don't know. But, yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know all that stuff had happened.
I mean, it's a little curious from a psychological profile or whatever of what he must be going through to have such a successful thing, and just to shoot yourself in the foot like that is fascinating. It's like, what? Why do you think you need this desperate attention? Like, he definitely was not making a good point. He didn't. I'm a pretty smart guy, and when I first saw it blew up on Twitter, so I clicked on it and I watched it, and I was just like, "What is this guy doing? This guy
I
is."
haven't seen that.
You got to see.
So out of the blue, he just brought up that question.
Oh, so I see this Rasmussen poll or whatever, and he just does it, and then he starts saying that
Dumb.
that he just wants nothing to do with black people now. I just felt it felt like
Stupid.
it felt like he was. I don't know what it felt like he was doing. It's pretty weird to watch. It's like watching Altamont, or it's like a slow motion train wreck.
Well,
just like, oh my god!
It's sort of the scary thing too. You just think everybody's nice, and everybody thinks normal. Everybody's equal, and then somebody will say something. You're like, what in the world? They hold it in for all this time. You don't really know. Not that I'm saying this is his, what's happened to him, but somebody will say something. You're like, oh, that doesn't really sound too cool.
I mean, if he was like, I just, the most charitable explanations still seem like why am I being so charitable? I mean, if you really genuinely believed that half of all black people were racist against white people, or thought it was not okay to be white, like, he still got the other half to hang out with. I just don't know what he's talking about. It's just weird. It's all like, it all is just remarkably tone deaf and like not smart about like,
It kind of sounds like he doesn't have any black friends.
or something. Yeah, like, oh,
What
that
in
was
the
Pip,
world?
little sound effect there.
Well, the thing is, it's also weird that you don't. I mean, I don't think white people understand how much black people are still treated differently. So if you're a black person treated differently, even like for 10 minutes every day, I mean, that's like a grudge you have. So if you just say, "What do you think of white people?" I mean, if you experience people disliking you part of the day, that has to come back, in some way towards. Not that you hate white people or you want all white people gone, but it's like screw the guy at the cashier, that won't give me a bag, or it's like. I don't think white people understand really. I'm talking as a white person, but I've had friends tell me like you don't understand. We used to go to the store. It was where I worked. It was 3 white guys and a black guy. We would go every day. Never had any problem. The black guy finally said after the third week, he said, "You notice he gives y'all a bag every day. He never gives me a bag." We had never even noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
You just get used to it. And we're like, "What?" He goes, "Y'all get y'all shit," and he puts it in the bag, and y'all go. And he just puts my stuff over. And you're like, "Damn, white people suck."
It's just, right. It's just little
Yeah.
microaggressions
Yeah.
that add up into
Yeah.
not knowing how to answer that
Yeah.
stupid question. Hey, Heather. Yeah, here's another new name. I love seeing all the new names. Elect Man 70 says racism is rampant now. And I mean that's another point. Like, the one thing I know this guy was not doing, you have a successful comic strip. People love you. What are you doing? Like, why, and I've maybe almost made this mistake before, because I can appreciate the temptation of wanting to talk politics and be edgy on YouTube. Like, I don't know how many emails I got during the pandemic, like, just basically shut up and sing. Like, why do you keep wanting to talk politics? Like, I don't know. It just seems I love listening to politics.
Another text from Kethra. Just shut up to the music. Okay.
But like, why he wants to be like this edgy anti-woke YouTuber on top of everything, like that's gonna go with being the Dilbert guy. Like, I just don't understand that whole impetus or whatever of like what he's even doing.
Well, that's why I asked the question. Mm-hmm. And I have less data about him than obviously you or.
So he's done now. I mean, is that what you're telling me? That most papers have dropped him?
Right now, he's making all his money from red-pilled right-wingers on YouTube. That's his new market. It's sad, but there's a lot of.
He's on YouTube.
Yeah, that's where this all happened with his Coffee with Scott Adams YouTube show.
How old is the guy?
That he's been doing just for the last few years.
I might check that out in the morning.
You should. You're not gonna like it though. He's not. He's obviously does not really have his thumb on the pulse of all of these pressing matters, but still feels like his opinion on the whole thing is important. And I don't know. It's really fascinating. I think you should check it out because I'd like to hear your take. But I think you'll just be disappointed. You'll be like, "Oh man, that's a shame. This isn't healing. It's just not what he was trying. Whatever he was trying to say. I don't think what he was trying to say or how he was trying to say it had the intention of being helpful to our community. I feel like he was playing a divisive game and doing it really stupidly. He was not trying to heal. He was not trying to bring insight. He was not trying to do anything healthy to improve our world.
Gotcha.
He was trying to play into the divisive narratives that are going on today for some inexplicable reason.
Well, I think that if that's the least bit true, we should stop talking about the son of a bitch and move on. I just had a thought about cats.
What's his name?
Scott Adams.
Scott Adams. F all y'all. That's what I got to say.
Hey, Corey, welcome to the show. Heather says, don't ever just shut up and sing, Nathan. You are good at facilitating thoughtful conversations. Oh, bless your soul.
My God, you pay her to do that?
Checks in the
You
mail.
send a,
Checks in the mail. Oh, quick plug, by the way. I'm performing for a YMCA. I might have said this last week, but I'll say it every week. 420, the YMCA benefit at Gypsy Hill Park in the bandstand. Nathan Moore and friends will be playing right down the street from you to support the YMCA. Bobby Day on April 20th. Oh, you're shaking your egg right in your microphone. Give me that.
420. I know our friend Kim Cardarelli will like anything that's 420 related, so she'll probably be there.
Let's do this.
Yeah. She's been waiting for a sign all night. She said that I'm going to mention her name. 420. That's a little ways away.
It'll be here before we
know it.
know
It's
it.
a whole festival, I heard. I was reading something online about it. They're having,
Food trucks.
yeah, it's like, but isn't there something else going on? There's like a,
I don't know about that. We have the promoter in the thread, though, so she can fill us in on that.
now is this you solo, or you have a band, or what is it?
I'm gonna have some friends play with me yet, but I don't know who all's available yet.
Man, look at
Ethan
you.
and Lex, I think, have signed on. I want to get Rennie, and that'd be a good mix. Just me, Lex, Ethan, and Rennie.
You think the synthesizer will make an appearance?
I wish, but no.
No, if I come down there at 420, would this be a good time to wear my Nathan Moore T-shirt?
I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. Tonight would have been a good time to wear your Nathan Moore T-shirt. Have you worn it yet?
I haven't worn it 'cause I don't.
It's going to be so crisp and new. You're going to look silly.
But I am representing Stanton. This Bremen. This is Brian Demery's new band.
Oh, cool.
And if you ever want to hear the story of Bremen, it's the story of these animals. There's a town in Germany.
That's like what we were talking about. It's like a dog. It's like a dog on a horse with a rooster on top.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like the beginning of our conversation.
So it's a story of Bremen is a place in Germany. It's a town, and these four animals all escaped from like bad situations, and they went to this house, and they all decided they were going to go to Bremen and they were going to start a band. I don't know if they were going to start a band. They were going to do something. But in Bremen, there's statues of stuff like this.
Where's Bremen?
It's somewhere in Germany. But I was at a show with Jane and Jane's husband Grail, and I've heard 1,000 stories in my life. Grail told the most beautiful, unrehearsed story of Bremen. It took like 20 minutes to tell. And I was just sitting there like a kid. I've never heard anybody tell a story so well as he told the story of Bremen. I wanted to like get up and give him a big hug when he finished. Like, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. And he was looking at me like, get away from me. But anyway, so this is Brian Demery's new band.
That's
now,
exciting.
where did Brian come? How did he get with it?
Supposedly,
But Jane's not in that band now.
no, Jane's not playing with him anymore. She played with him in Big Boots, I think. But an old band member, this is what Brian told me, Pete from White, what was the old bookstore downtown? White Horse?
Oh,
or?
Black
Black Swan, yeah. Pete from Black Swan supposedly came up with the name.
Black Swan.
Yeah. And then Pete, went his own way, but Brian kept the name.
Okay.
It's cool. It's a badass T-shirt.
Yeah.
So, do you see?
Good start.
Did you see them play?
I did see them play. They played at the clock tower a couple of weeks ago.
Is that when you got the shirt?
Yeah.
And how were they?
They're very good. They're very 80s sounding. They remind me, every time I listen to them, I expect John Hughes and Molly Ringwald to walk in.
Do they need a synth player? Just saying.
You probably use a synthesizer.
Yeah, it's Brian and two other guys. They don't have a synthesizer player. They have a guitar, bass, and drums. And there you go.
Put in a word for me. Elect Man says, "Damn, I have not heard that name since high school." Which name? Brian?
Brian Demery, I bet.
Kim Cardarelli?
Heather says, "Shout out to Brian for donating the proceeds from the beard contest
Yes.
last year to the YMCA."
And guess who was a
Ding,
judge?
ding, ding.
Me.
A little applause,
I was
producer.
I was a judge at the beard contest.
Oh, you were? Who won that?
Oh, it is. I mean, Brian does a wonderful job. He has a charity. It's like every couple of years he raises money for he picks some group.
That was a loud, long clap.
These guys come with their beards.
They love you, Brian.
These guys come with their beards. Really, I mean, it broke my heart because we have to sit there. I think it was me and Grail and Julie and somebody else. And they come up. We have to judge their beards.
Which is
And some of them just like having a good time, but some want to win so bad. And I remember I was on stage and they were announcing the winners, and this one guy was just looking at me, just looking at his eyes, and I was like, "Dude, he didn't win." And he was like he was just, his heart just like broke. I was like, "Oh my God!" I told Brian, I said, "This is too much for these people." You know? But then they raise money and they'll shave their heads and shave their beards and stuff for charity.
so. How would you judge the beard?
Brian had like different ones, like the most well kept, the most the longest. They measure it, and then they'd all have to come down and we would get like a ruler and measure them. And there was a couple of different the most hipster.
So
one.
who would win between Dad and I?
For like which one?
I guess you need a category, huh?
Hipster one.
Well, you've got a real beard. Mine's just hair that I'm letting grow because I don't want to mess with it.
I don't know. I feel the same way about
You
mine.
should enter it one
I don't-
year.
What makes my beard real?
Well, it's fuller.
Fuller.
Yeah.
It stops
looks
about
like,
here,
It looks
though.
like a beard.
No,
It will not Rasputin. It will not like. I would go for it if it would just keep going. I would give anything to see that, but it doesn't. It just like stops here.
Well, like some of the guys have beards long, and Brian will for whatever $1,000 we'll shave it. Like if we can raise $1,000, those dudes let Grail just shave.
Do they
their
do
whole
it that
beard.
night, like in front
They
of
do
everybody?
it right on the stage.
Oh,
Grail
man.
goes up there and shaves them down.
Oh, that's intense. That's exciting.
But Brian
Is
doesn't.
this an annual event? Oh, it takes longer than a year to
Yeah,
grow
yeah,
a beard of that
I've-
significance.
I've been
doesn't it?
here 4 years and he's done it twice. But the guys get to go on stage and some dance and some are
Do
just
you
nervous.
travel around the country judging beard contests? You have,
The
What-
best
how did you get qualified?
He does secretly judge every beard he comes in contact with now, though.
the best thing was it was me and Grail. Is sort of quiet, and Grail's like the head judge because he knows how to shave and stuff. So Grail's he's all put together. He's not drinking or anything. And Brian told me it was free drinks, so I'm just like more drinks. And then Julie who was being pretty serious, and there was another lady there, and she was like just I don't know if she was high or if she was drunk or what, but she was out. And she was grabbing these old guys, some of these guys are 60, 70 years old. She's going, "Come here, sex, let me feel that beard." She was grabbing their
Ooh,
beard.
I felt that pain.
And these guys were looking at her, and she was all duded up. She had a wig on, and then all of a sudden she got on stage. She had a long wig. She had a long beard on. But it was and I was like, "Oh my God, this girl's crazy."
Well, I hope that's televised next year. I'd
Yeah,
like
let's stream it.
Sounds like something we could do.
Yeah,
But it's always for a good cause. It was for the Y last year, and the first year I was here, it was like a little kid. His parents, he was real sick, and his parents' insurance had run out, and they had a live-in a nurse that came and took care of him. and their insurance stopped paying for it. But the lady was such a wonderful lady; she just kept coming for free, helping the kids. So Brian raised money to, give some money to the nurse.
That's cool.
Yeah. And some guys come there like flowers in their beards. It's like I think one of them's most decorated beard.
So if I was going to enter that contest, not that I would, I don't think my beard's that impressive, but what category would I stand a chance in?
Gosh, with that length, maybe hipster.
A hipster?
Because it's not long
How
enough.
disappointing is that?
Yeah.
Or
It's not long enough.
you'd have to decorate it or something.
What are the categories?
I remember there was hipster, longest. Most decorated. There's like
Decorated.
there's seven
So you can just
seven
put stuff in
categories.
it.
Yeah, people come in with one guy's got a real long beard. He has flowers and stuff in it. I just remember that one guy. He had a tank top on, this long scraggly beard, and I remember he was just standing there. We were on stage getting ready to announce the thing, so he was just staring into my eyes, and I was like, I can't take it anymore. I was like, dude, you didn't win. He's like, ah. I felt like I'd crushed his hopes.
That's tough. It's hard to be a judge.
But he's got usually like maybe 20 guys that show up. And some of them are like showboats. They just want to get up there, But they're not showboats in a bad way. Showboats like they make it fun,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're
You're
up
gonna
there.
have to.
Yeah.
You ever grow a beard?
Just when I was trying to do your thing.
What do you mean? What?
Remember that when we first started, I was trying to grow a beard for a couple of weeks.
Sort of remember.
I don't remember that. I never saw a beard on you.
Yeah.
I don't think you're very good at it.
Well, that's the reason I shaved it, because you were like, you're not very good at it. It's been 5 weeks.
Back to the minor leagues.
It's been 5 weeks. You still got baby face. We gotta let you know.
You got the cutest little baby face.
But Brian, he always has a band. Like Dragon Wagon played last year, so it's always a good time.
Yeah, Lex came in all baby face the other day. It's shocking when. I remember it used to freak me out when you would shave yours sometimes. You get used to somebody, and it's like they're iconic. That's archetypal or
Right.
something, and all of a sudden they pull the rug out from under your archetypal knowledge of who that person is. It's like, who is this?
Have you ever seen like on YouTube those videos, like a guy has like a 3-year-old daughter or something? It's like the first time she's seen me shaved, and he'll walk out, and the kids look at him like they can't believe, like, who is this person?
Right.
It looks like my dad, but it can't be.
I remember that distinctly.
I've had the opposite, where my wife looked at me 3 months after I shaved and said, "There's something different about you. Did you shave?" And I did it 3 months ago. I was sitting there looking at her like, "Who have you been looking at?"
You've always had a beard.
No.
Well, I mean, no, you sometimes would shave it off, but it seems like the shaving off was like the different, like your default was bearded,
Well,
and
after
then
I
you
got-
mix it up a little bit.
After I got to a certain age, well, first of all, my face got fatter. So a beard covers up the fat. So,
That's probably what I'm doing.
yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I resemble that remark.
Got him again.
God, we're going to a nationally televised roast now. Here we go.
Your beard looks good on you.
I remember you teaching. You didn't have a beard when you taught.
No, the grossest thing I've had is mustaches. I've had a few mustaches, and they did not look good on me. I looked like I was selling something that didn't exist.
It's hard to pull off a mustache. I tried to do a
I just
mustache.
made that
Oh
up.
my
About
God.
it.
That
That's
was
a pretty good
That
one.
was good.
I just made that one up right
I'm gonna
there.
text that to myself, selling something that doesn't exist. I'm not even lying. That's a great line.
How do you text to yourself?
I just type in me.
Do you? I've been dying to know the answer to this question
my
for a long
God.
time. Can you text yourself?
Yeah, me.
No, really?
Selling something. What was it? What was the line?
You just
Selling?
type in me?
Well, I don't know. That's what I did. Selling something. What was it?
I don't remember them.
Selling something that doesn't exist.
I looked like I was selling something that doesn't exist. It's not as funny now. They don't. It didn't last very long.
Selling something doesn't
Shelf life. What's the half-life on this funny?
Yeah, it's funny how things.
I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna steal that from you pretty soon.
Oh my gosh!
Did it work?
Text me. You just write. At least on the iPhone, I just typed in me,
Yeah, that's
and
what I did.
I've been wanting to be able to do this my whole life. This is huge. I'm like, oh, that's a good line. I've like, I don't know.
Should we go home and let you go upstairs and play?
Yeah, I got to respond to this. So I just got a text.
Selling something that doesn't exist.
I can talk to me.
Hey, do you remember growing up how we'd make rotary phones call themselves
Oh, I wish I did. Cause we used to call our babies.
or make payphones ring? Right.
Kyle, we know it's you. Hang up the phone. Come downstairs. Nobody's scared of you.
Do you remember that? I feel like you were too old when
No,
us
I
kids
don't know what you're
figured
talking
that out.
about.
There were like a certain series of numbers you could type
Yeah.
into the old phones that would make them ring, and then you could
No.
pretend like you got a call you didn't get.
No, I didn't know that.
Just texting myself just reminded me of the old ways you trick things into. Oh wait, I just got a 63 error invalid number. Please resend using a valid 10-digit mobile number or valid short code.
Oh, yeah, it didn't work.
The scary thing is when I get a response. I was like, oh, who's responding?
Right.
That's
Yes,
weird.
and
What are you selling? Oh. Please leave me alone. I didn't mean to email to text you.
Yeah. Now you put it back. If you put that line back in the context of the mustache, it's funny again.
Right.
That's a great
That's what
line.
was funny was
Selling something
thinking of
that
me in a
doesn't
mustache.
mustaches are hard
I
to
look
pull off.
like
She
a-
won't let me have one. Freaks her out.
Yeah, well, some people have standards.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do.
I might have told this story. My brother-in-law was coaching a girls' soccer team. They were like 8 or 9 years old or whatever. And he decided to grow a mustache. And his wife and he looked horrible in it. He looked like the biggest perv. Like you wouldn't want any 8 or 9-year-old girl around him. But so they had a team picture taken at the end, and his wife said, "We're not going to frame this. We're just going to throw it away. I don't want you with that mustache. You look so scary. I don't want you." But so they came to visit us in New Jersey. And we were walking up and down the shore, and some kids were having like a little yard sale. So we stopped out front, and the mother came out and said, "No, what have y'all done this summer? What are y'all doing?" my brother-in-law's daughter said, "My daddy grew a mustache." Like it was her proudest thing of the whole summer. My daddy grew a mustache. Like, oh my God. I mean, mustaches on some guys just look
I think
so...
there's only one man who. Well, that's not true.
Tom Selleck.
That's who I was thinking of. But right when I was about to say Tom Selleck is the only man that should have a mustache, Wilford Brimley popped up on my other shoulder. It was like, you hold the phone right now.
Hitler.
Huh?
Hitler.
Oh God, he ruined that style for everybody forever, didn't he?
What do you think Hitler would
You
look...
know, before Hitler,
Did anybody else ever have that
Charlie
style?
Chaplin.
They're about the same time period, though, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. It was pretty weird because Charlie Chaplin did that, The Dictator, which was a whole satire of Hitler. He didn't have to change his mustache.
Wow.
If you think about it.
But did you ever have the long sideburns? Like
Oh, yeah.
Down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've tried different things.
You probably tried them all at some point or another,
Probably,
right?
yeah.
I like doing the one where you shave down here and on the sides is that Hulk Hogan just coming down.
Yeah.
It's not handlebars because they come straight down the face. I think
I'm
that's
not
a
sure
fun
I ever did that. I did the goatee.
Goatees are fun.
The goatee was pretty cool. Compared.
I like the Amish thing, but she doesn't like that either, really.
What's that now?
Like you shave your top lip,
So you just have
but
a
the rest
beard.
is just all down here.
Yeah, I think it's.
It's sort of an Abe Lincoln too.
I was gonna say I like Lincoln.
Is he a goatee? His beard comes up this. It's just a Amish look, right? Except I feel like he has a concentration right here.
Have you ever heard the story about why Lincoln had a beard?
No.
This is supposedly true. He was, Lincoln was the first. I've read a lot about Lincoln. Lincoln was the first president that was really was a time period where photographs and stuff could get out, and like you could really. It didn't take like months or years. If you were in D.C., it didn't take 30 weeks to get to Nebraska. They got it within like a couple of weeks. And some little girl, he didn't have a beard or a mustache. And some little girl wrote him a letter and said, "You're not very good looking. You would look better with a beard."
Wrote him a letter and told him
Yeah,
that?
so he grew a beard, and that just became his look.
You've heard that?
Yeah.
Well, why would you not believe that? Very reasonable. He
just
didn't
don't
look
see
good without a beard.
Little girls having that kind of fashion sense about what people should do with their facial hair.
Well, she probably didn't write it. Her mother wrote it.
Oh, gotcha.
Little girls couldn't write back in.
And Mr. Lincoln, I've also got something for sale that doesn't exist if you're interested. Would you like to buy the Eiffel Tower?
This is going to be a little vain, but there's a part of myself that always is aspiring to be sort of a historical figure in terms of my art and stuff like that. And when I look through, like I still dream that someday there's going to be a black and white picture of me in a book somewhere with a little paragraph underneath talking about my contribution, And I wonder what that picture is, because when I think of every iconic character throughout history, for the most part, I see them one way.
Right.
If it's Jim Morrison, he has leather pants and that mane. If it's Mark Twain, he's got a white suit, and Colonel Sanders has got his beard. Like each Einstein, I never picture them. There's like one image for every single person I can think of. Can you think of somebody that has significantly more than one image?
That's interesting. I've been trying to think of one ever since you
Dylan.
started.
I mean, you might think
Bob
of
Dylan.
Fat Elvis,
Bob
yeah,
Dylan
but we
has a
all
couple
picture. If we all just said Dylan, I bet we'd all go to the same guy, right?
I would go to the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
Me.
And it was.
And I would text him.
And he's played. I mean, I think the icon. I know what you mean, especially people that you've watched grow up. It's a little bit different because he's in our time.
That's true.
But 100 years from now, there'll probably be one image of Dylan. It's the caricature.
Right.
And so I've always been torn between my bearded. Like what's the one? Is it the Peter Pan me that I was for a long time?
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Please do. Save
I
me.
want to make this statement because it just popped into my head, and I want to say it. That I'll bet that people look at pictures of a young Sean Connery and said, "Man, he's going to be really good looking when he gets old." And I'll bet that's the only person in the world that's ever been true of.
Mm-hmm.
He got better looking every year.
That's true. It's true.
And that has not happened to me.
Nor me.
I'm through. I'm sorry. It just popped in my head.
No, it's
Now,
true.
so how old were you when you got a beard?
No,
No,
I mean, I could grow one
No, so once you grew it, did it stay, or was it off and on, off and on?
off and on. Off and on. But then, what?
You just looked at him and said, "I could grow one."
The
Was-
he didn't say it mean. I didn't.
he
think
didn't
was
say it mean, and that makes it even meaner.
F all y'all. F all y'all. That's all I gotta say.
Wait, what's mine say? Oh, mine's over there.
I mean, before we get started, I could grow one.
Stop with all the questions. At least I can grow one. The first time you saw him, did he have a beard or he didn't have a beard? He didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly never had a beard. And if you saw like any picture of me from like the Amusement or or in my solo career, like as far as like my promotion material went, if my picture was on a record or something, like wearing a beard would have been like the blue period, or like it was like a complete deviation.
Right.
But then there was this tour with Surprising Mr. Davis, and a video came up the other day of that, and it was the first time I really went for it, and I grew this beard out, and it was this beard, but it had no gray in it. It wasn't that long ago. The gray happened just one day. I woke up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that just happened. I thought about dyeing it, but I digress.
But I grew it. But the main thing is I grew it.
I mean, it was robust.
3 days and I had this and I grew it.
But then I wondered, it was right around the time Percy Boyd, like changing my name to be the world's first sleight of hand musician. I was like, I feel like Percy Boyd, the world's first sleight of hand musician, has the beard. And it was, and I remember
Well,
I took a
and
picture of myself in a suit pulling a red ball out of my mouth with a beard. I was like, that's that.
Man. So
But now I'm.
so like do historians have like a treasure trove of pictures to choose from? They're gonna pick one for you in the dictionary?
I don't know how it works, how it pans out throughout over
Well, I think
history.
it's when you're most famous, or when you have
The height.
the best pictures taken,
The peak of your.
or when you're best known. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you haven't come back to the idea, or we haven't broached the subject of the idea of age, because beards tend to make you look older.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people that don't want to have a beard because they want to stay looking younger.
Mm-hmm.
Was that part of your thought process? Because you
I
do
don't-
look older, but you don't look old.
Right.
Which,
Right.
by the way, you will not look old as long as you continue to hang out with me.
Well, yeah, we should hit the town.
Yeah.
The
Who's that old guy you're with?
I definitely remember one thing I thought was really fascinating was when because it was pretty late in the game. Like I would have little goatees and stuff like that, but this full-on beard. When I got this big-ass beard, people listened to my music completely differently.
Wow.
Completely differently. They were like, there was just something. I mean, for people that had never been exposed to me, they took the dude with the beard way more seriously than the cocky little kid without one. It was like a man with something to say, or this like cocky little shit that wants my attention.
Well, it's weird, but a beard does sort of like experience, wisdom. I mean, it sort of does convey, certain things that a fresh face doesn't.
Right. The wise old man on the mountain definitely has a beard. If you climbed all the way to the mountain to ask your one question to the wise old man up there, and he was clean shaven, you just jump. Just be like, what a waste of a hike that was. Who's this dude? I thought there was gonna be a wise elder up here.
No, would you ever want to surprise Catherine with like just one night, or like shaving your beard, and one morning shaving your beard and walking out in the kitchen with your face totally clean? Or that would be.
That's always fun to do.
He's done that before.
Oh yeah.
Do you scream? Nathan, there's someone in the house. It's me.
When it was just the mustache, I screamed.
But isn't that a thing when you have a beard? You can't you have to leave the mustache when you shave just to look.
You got to
at
try
yourself.
something.
Yeah, you got to just see what.
I
it
did
looks like.
I shaved one half of my face once and had to do a whole photo shoot. It was so funny. I took actually two different shirts and sewed them together, like two snap ups,
God.
and snapped like one half of the shirt here and the other half of the shirt here, and did all these pictures of my half beard.
Heather just sent this in.
Yeah, see, I feel like that's sort
Oh
of
wow.
the when I think of Nathan Moore, I think of that as far as just the icon, like what's the word? Caricature?
I wouldn't
Yeah, the
even-
caricature.
I wouldn't even recognize.
You wouldn't even recognize me.
Well, I've only seen you with a beard.
Well, yeah, this is somebody that wants to date a little boy. Isn't it?
Wait, this is?
Yeah.
Or whoever sent that?
No, I said it looks like.
You broke Kyle. Kyle's broke now. Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties. Wait, there's a great button you should push over there, but I don't know how to tell you which. D sharp.
Well, I'm sorry, Kyle.
Oh my God.
We're experiencing technical difficulties. We'll be right back.
Oh man, remind me never to make you mad.
You might have to hit it again though to stop it. Percy's like, what happened?
My dad never.
Oh,
wanted-
nothing. Let's
My
just-
dad never wanted to date little boys.
Well,
Yes, and
just
No buts.
oh, Catherine, that was a perfect chance for a ba-dum-bum. Or was that the sad trombone? I can't tell. I get them confused. Is that a ba-dum-bum or a wah wah?
Oh my God. So it was a date little boy.
well.
Maybe that.
Oh, speaking of this,
Maybe that's.
I want to share something with you guys that I just discovered today. What I want you to do
Little
first,
boys don't like
everybody,
beards.
and you at home too. Everybody, close your eyes for a second and just listen to this. This is very fitting with the conversation, and I want you to just describe who you think is what the man looks like that's singing this song here. Don't look at the screen.
I made a phone call to my mama last night. A payphone in the middle of the filthy street.
He's got a heavy jacket.
She didn't have much to say, never does anyway. So I hung up the phone, got back, moving my feet.
Now go ahead and pause it for a second. That's a 15-year-old kid from Winchester, Virginia.
Damn. I was gonna say he was leathery faced with a big heavy jacket on.
Right.
I was trying to figure out if it's an old black man or an old white man.
Mm-hmm. This is a 15-year-old kid
What?
from Winchester, Virginia.
That's
You don't have to
crazy.
play the whole thing, but now everybody can.
Is this somebody you know or somebody you found?
It was on Facebook, and I was just like,
Feel so hot on the
Oh
inside.
my God.
can you see her?
My soul's as empty as a drum.
Well, that is just weird looking, isn't it?
It's straight.
I used to wonder when I was a child, back when we all got drunk and wild.
Wow.
I love how he's this 15-year-old kid singing about how when he was a child back when we all got drunk and wild. It's like you haven't done any of that yet.
Oh, I don't think you can say that.
Wow.
Isn't that a trip?
That's
What do you think
amazing.
of that?
Yeah, that's weird.
It's weird.
Whew.
What do you think of the concept of an old soul? You ever heard of that concept?
Oh yeah, I've been around them before.
Do you think you're an old soul?
I think we're all could be classified that in maybe in certain ways. Nobody, I mean, I don't see myself as an old soul in a lot of ways, but there are certain things, and part of that is I think I got something, I figured something out earlier, and I think that's the key to saying you're an old soul. And you usually say that, you don't usually say that about old people. You say that about a young person,
Right, right.
you know, and it's something they've picked out they figured out that nobody else their age. It's kind of like the way that one sounds, but this is the way they see the world. They figured out something that a lot of us don't figure out ever, or
Daniel had a little bit of that old soul energy.
I think Daniel definitely does. Yeah, but I can see it in other people in different things that they do, and some of your songs, definitely.
I definitely got accused of being one a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
No, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Have you ever heard that phrase?
Oh, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I think it's
It's a gift.
I think of it as somebody as being able to see the kindness and the generosity and the love of everything instead of being a, I know everything. You sort of,
Appreciating
Yeah.
and seeing how things really work
Right.
and what's really important. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true.
well, like some of your lyrics. I mean, I've only the songs I've heard you sing. Sometimes I'm like, God, how did he come up with that stuff? It's like you. I don't even know how old you were when you wrote these songs, but it's like they just speak to, if you were 110 years old, you would still understand exactly what you were talking about, which is like a gift, to be able to make something that a young person, maybe the young people don't even, they understand what you're talking about, but I think age gives you a better flavoring and, understanding of it. And some of the stuff you sung, just like, oh my God, you could be, God on the mountain and go, I understand what Nathan's talking about,
Yeah, I can definitely relate to what you said of being both, because I definitely, I don't, I, in the songs especially is where I can see some old soul qualities in myself, but in so many other ways I feel like such a beginner, absolute beginner.
If you want to get serious for a minute about that, I think one of the things about that I see in the way I have developed over the years is, I think one thing I figured out earlier than a lot of people was that I see things from different angles. I see both sides of everything.
Right.
Whereas I think a lot of us are trying to figure out one side and then go for that side. But to see everything from the other person's point of view and then come back around to yours gives you a certain perspective that I think leads you into thinking that this guy knows more than the regular person. You might not know it, but I guess the key would be to say you don't know it.
Do you think that's like do you think people are actually born with those aspects to their natures, or do they learn them? Is it some kind of...
I think both happens. I think there's genetics and I think there's nurture. And I think that sometimes it's just the environment that you grew up in, and sometimes it's just you doing it on your own. And so I think, again, you can see both sides to that too. But I think both things happen.
So of the I don't think there's any risk in this question. Like, of my three nieces, who do you think would be the oldest soul? And this could change. It's not like...
That's really hard because they are three different ages, and I see them going through different phases. My first reaction would be Eva.
But she's the oldest.
And she's the oldest, and she's also the one that is meant to be a teacher. She likes to organize and everything, whereas Zelly is doing her own thing and got a lot going on up there that I don't have any idea where she is with it. But she could definitely be an old soul. And Lucia's just too young to put any labels on. But she's just pure. But so I don't know the answer. But I know that everybody would guess Eva because of just her behavior.
But it is tough being the oldest because it's sort of her role too.
And that is her role right now. she does take care of her crew. But yeah,
Well, it's today's two friends at work. We were talking about something, and I don't know if the old soul is the same thing, but I told them, you two still believe in Santa Claus. You still want to be good. You want to accept everybody. You want to be kind to everybody. It's like they still want Santa Claus to believe that they don't judge me. I'm doing good, Santa Claus. It's almost like that sort of that old soul thing. Like, I'm not going to judge you from my point of view. I'm going to judge you from, like you said, you get different angles, and I'm going to let everything boil with some apples and some onions, and we'll figure out what the thing is instead of just like you tell me something and I'm like, no, you're wrong. An old soul is more like, we'll put it in here and we'll let it boil down and we'll stir it up and see what you got.
A young soul would be the more.
Yeah, like you're wrong. That's wrong.
Oh.
That's what I think, because like you see it from your point of view.
Because it seems like naivety, or like.
But you don't really have the experience to know why somebody else is doing something, or But these two friends at work, I was like, man, y'all are so kind and so nice and so accepting. It's like y'all still believe in Santa Claus. Like you just want everybody, like you don't want ever anybody to think you. Not that they're even thinking about who's judging them. That's not even at all. But like as a kid, you just want to be good, so Santa Claus will reward you. That's just like the way they are. It was like, man, it's just like a different way of seeing, a different way of being, where you just, without even really thinking, you're just nice to people and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know so many people, just, I mean, even friends of mine, just, that's just the way they are, this sucks and that's terrible and, this, whatever. And other people are, this, well, it probably does suck, but you don't understand where they're coming from and, let it be,
Mm.
well, I think personally, it's not that we both believe in Santa Claus. We both believe in Nana.
Mm.
That's a better way of putting it.
Yeah. Although Santa Claus is cool too. I don't want to go down.
Well, I don't know who their Nana is, but if you have someone like that in your life that's taught you that, that's more beautiful and special than Santa Claus is.
True. Yeah, it's got to come from somewhere. Maybe.
I'm just catching up with a lot of action in the chat tonight. It's good to see. Good to see everybody out there. Thanks for hanging out with us. Joe Warren. Oh, I love family talk. I was told I was an old soul from as long as I can remember. You probably are. People don't get told they're young souls very often. Mm-hmm. Like, that's almost, I guess, the default. That's just sort of what you expect from people.
What do you
old soul is like wise beyond your years.
What do you tell an old person that acts young? What's the term for that?
That would be like a young soul, wouldn't it?
But you never hear a young soul. If you're old and you act young, what do they say about you? You got
stunted.
You must like young boys. Now, what is that? You have a friend. What is? I mean, I've heard people say that about old people. What's the term? I can't think of it. Not a good.
What's the good version?
You don't have a. It's not. You have a good outlook on life. You have a. God, what is it?
Peter Pan is one of the.
Eternally young.
Forever young. But that's still not as catchy as Old Soul.
No. It's the best I could do.
Yeah. I can't do
it. But
any better.
there is some term, isn't there? I mean,
Big kid. That's what Heather says. Young spirit.
Yeah, that's probably what.
That rings a bell.
Yeah.
But then when I thought about it,
yeah, you got a young spirit. Yeah, that's along those lines. Yeah.
Old soul, young spirit. There's some distinction between soul and spirit there that's sort of fascinating. But that's all I got. Young at heart.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly.
Ding, ding, ding.
Who sent that in?
Oh, that's the F sharp, I think.
Who sent that in?
That was Clutch.
Clutch, way to go, Clutch.
We have a winner. We have tell him what he won, Bob.
He came through in the clutch. Way to go, clutch.
Oh,
You
by
did
the way,
good.
Clutch, wonderful version of I just saw on Facebook today. Mitch Clutch covered my song "Can't Go On" Facebook, and he did a really nice version of it. Better than my version, if I do say so myself.
Clutch.
Thank you for doing that. It's great.
Clutch, you saved the day with that Young at Heart.
Young at heart.
Yeah.
That is it. That's what we're looking. It's on the tip of all of our tongues. There's another clap like right next to that one. This one lasts forever. This is for when we real. Oh, that was a little different actually.
And most of y'all don't know that Clutch is a 15-year-old boy from Winchester. So.
Guys, I just glanced at the clock and we're already 7 minutes over.
It's 7. There's some weird water up in Winchester.
Overtime.
Have you ever heard that?
There's something going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is it's just strange.
It's over.
We're already 7 minutes overtime. We didn't even talk about UFOs. I have a video all queued up and everything.
Oh, man.
That's all right. We can always do it next week.
You got to tell us to shut up so we can stay on your schedule.
No, well,
Well, you
That's not my
laugh too
schedule.
goddamn much.
yeah, that's right.
That's your
We
problem.
shut down the whole works, waiting for you to recover. I mean,
I'm just trying to sell products that don't exist.
get yourself for $19.99. You too can get a Jabber John. We'll send it to you. Just send a self-addressed envelope.
We will send it to you eventually.
Jabber John, it's on its way to you.
If you want to feel young at heart, just send me $19.99.
Are you an old soul that would like to feel young at heart? Get yourself a Jabber John. $19.99. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Jabber John
And if you're
at me.
and if you're a young boy, send photos, please.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, you just plant the seeds and he grows them. Huh?
Isn't that terrible?
All right, Kim Carterville, we're thinking
And
about
he
you
doesn't
today.
let go. He keeps on, he'll bring them back.
Margie Conlon, we're thinking about you.
It's stuck in there
McShane, Margie McShane. I
A grain
got
of
her name
sand
wrong.
in an oyster. This is making pearls. Oh my goodness.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
And we've been
With the money you
sponsored by
save,
Liberty
we tried
all night.
electric unicycles.
I think I got
Thank
it.
you for watching, everybody.